Thank you. Look, I know you guys get this, but the real pandemic, the most dangerous threat to our health, to our safety, to our loved ones, whether they're in a nursing home or in the womb, the real pandemic is not a virus. The most dangerous pandemic, in fact, is not even these petty tyrants and drunk-on-power politicians across the nation. No, in fact, I hate to say it, friends, but the COVID crackdowns, the unconstitutional orders that have spread across this nation would not have happened if it wasn't for the real problem that has been festering underneath the surface for decades. You see, just as a virus needs a weakened immune system to prey upon, in the same way, bad government and petty tyrants need a weakened society upon which to prey. A society lacking in values and principles and truth. That's the environment where their promises of government saving everybody's lives and their lies that you are not capable of calculating the risks and making your own decisions. See, that's the environment. That's the petri dish, if you will, where bad government and tyranny spreads. And so the truth of the matter is, whether we like it or not, we've got to look at ourselves. That stuff wouldn't have happened if we didn't have such civic ignorance about our history and our Constitution, if we hadn't lost this love and passion for liberty, this faith in free enterprise and faith in individualism. If we hadn't lost those things, none of this would have happened. And so as we look out there across the nation and we realize those things are happening, it's up to us to turn this thing around. It's up to us to give an immune boost of constitutionalism, of truth, of bringing back the principles of liberty. And so the good news is, just as you can fight off and defeat a virus with the right immune boosters, kind of like getting some good vitamin D right here in our Texas sun today, just as you can do that with a virus, you can do the same thing with bad government. We need an immune booster of civic literacy in America. Just as civic ignorance got us into this mess, civic literacy can cure that. So if we'll begin to love liberty again, if we'll begin to study liberty again, study the Constitution, begin to know our rights, we can not only stop this nonsense that's happening, we can prevent it from happening again. John Jay put it this way. He was our first Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. He's, one of the guys who gave us the Federalist Papers, our instruction manual on the Constitution. He's a signer of the Constitution. But Jay said that every citizen should read and study the Constitution. Why? So that they can teach the rising generation to be free, so that they will know their rights, perceive when their rights have been violated, and then defend and assert their rights. We got to know our rights before we can defend and assert those rights. We need to follow John Jay's advice. I love when Shelley Luther stood up and asserted her rights, that people rallied from all over in peaceful protest to help her defend those rights. That good legal counsel like Warren, who you're going to hear from, and Briscoe and these others came alongside her, and as a result, Texas Supreme Court set her free and forced Emperor Abbott's hand, forced him to begin to lift these unconstitutional, tyrannical orders that have even happened in Texas. Can you believe this? In Texas, we've been dealing with this stuff. But it begins with knowing your rights. Thomas Paine, September 12th, 1777. We had lost battle after battle after battle. Most people had given up on the American cause. And he said, those who want to reap the blessings of freedom must, like men, undergo the fatigues of supporting it. In other words, like men, like adults, we got to grow up, we got to step up. We got to be willing to undergo the fatigues of supporting that liberty. That means studying. So here's my challenge for you. I'm going to beg every one of you here to become students of freedom. To just give a couple hours a week to start studying the document, to start diving in to know your rights, and then spread the good news. Teach your friends, your family, the people at your church. We've got to fall in love with freedom again. We got to study how we got it. We got to study how to preserve and protect it. And most importantly, we got to make sure we pass it intact to the next generation. That's what I'm going to challenge you to do. We make it fun and easy. Write this down, text it to all your friends. Constitutioncoach.com. Constitutioncoach.com. You got a coach for your finances. You got a coach for your health and your wellness and all that good stuff. We need a freedom coach right now. We need to be teaching people about freedom. We'll teach you the Constitution from the very room. I teach it in Independence Hall, where it was all done, where it was framed. But then, after you learn it, I'm asking you to sign up as a Constitution host for free and use this class to teach your friends and family in your living room, in your church, out here in the park. I don't care where you go. Just make sure that you're like Paul Revere. You're sounding the warning and you're getting your friends and family involved as well. You've got to become a force multiplier of freedom. You've got to be the patriot of today. Last thing I'll say is, as Michelle said, this is Memorial Day weekend, and on Monday we're going to honor all of those 1.2 million that paid the ultimate sacrifice for us, that died so that we could be free. Abraham Lincoln said in his Gettysburg Address that it's from these honored dead that we take increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. What is the cause for which they died? American exceptionalism, not American fear, not American cowering. What is the cause for which they died? Liberty and freedom. You see, friends, just like tough times reveal our character, crisis reveals the character of a nation. And the crisis of 2020 has unfortunately revealed America not to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, but the land of the easily imprisoned, home of the timid and afraid. We can change that. We can turn that around. We can bring back a love of liberty by having an increased devotion to the cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion. Make your devotion increase today. Let this rally spur you on to become a student of freedom, and let's make sure we're passing that torch of freedom intact to the next generation. God bless you guys. Thanks.